The doctor treated me like I was lying. Okay, so before we get that far in the story, I'm gonna eat my McDonald's and I'm gonna tell you about my ADHD journey. So I just got like the $5 menu. I get paid tomorrow, and it's my birthday tomorrow. The $5 meal is literally the best deal at McDonald's right now. Okay, I got the double cheeseburger one. So we got our nuggets. And of course, sweet and sour sauce, because that's the only way you should be eating nuggets. Our fry and the sandwich. This story technically starts when I was a kid, but also not really. So I was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid when I was like 5. I don't know. And I do remember going to a psychiatrist when I was a kid. I remember going with my mom, but I never knew why. Or if I did, I don't remember. I remember going there and just being there playing with toys on the floor while my mom sat and talked to the psychiatrist. Well, they put me on Ritalin and then eventually took me off of it. Again, never knew why. I know that I was a mean kid, and my current psychiatrist said she doesn't like to put people on Ritalin because it can make them mean. So now I'm wondering if that's why they took me off of it. I can't ask them because they're no longer with us. So that's what I'm going to assume. This story continues. I guess about a year and a half ago now, when I started dating my current boyfriend. We've been together for 2 years, but it was about a year and a half ago when this was brought up. So I talk a lot, and I tend to like talk over somebody and kind of interrupt a little bit. I've always thought that I did it because if I don't say what's on my mind, I'll forget what I was going to say. And then I never get to say it. So, anyways, it gets on people's nerves, right? Well, one day he was like, I think you might have ADHD or something. And I'm like, you know what? You might be right. So I started doing some research. And things started, making sense. So my first step was to make a family doctor appointment. So when I made my family doctor appointment, it took 4 months to actually get to see the doctor. So when I went to see the doctor, I was telling her about my symptoms, which include I was always getting really antsy at work and like really anxious and distracted, like daydreaming a lot and not focusing on my job, which does cause you to get like you're being slower because you're not focused on what you're supposed to be doing. So, that made my job performance kind of go downhill. Started to get a little worse. I have problems wanting to go to bed, which is like procrastination, which is a symptom. Problems wanting to go to bed, having a hard time staying asleep. I think that's kind of all that I noticed at first. So I'm telling the doctor all this, and the whole time I am talking to her, she's like shaking her head. She's like, most people grow out of it. She's like, it's uncommon for adults to have it. So she basically just treated me like I was lying. Like she wasn't even considering that I actually have ADHD or something. I don't know, but it was really weird. And I definitely didn't appreciate her attitude at all. So the whole time she was literally just like, most people grow out of it. When you know what? I did research after that. And in fact, most people do not grow out of it. So I don't know how long she's been a doctor, but she clearly doesn't know what she's talking about. It's more common that people have it into adulthood as well. So there's that. Okay, so I actually found out that a family doctor is not who you go see for ADHD. So the whole 4 months I wasted waiting on the doctor was for nothing. So she referred me to a psychiatrist. I went to the psychiatrist. Okay. I went to this psychiatrist and I told her all of my symptoms. And I honestly felt like they thought I was lying because I had them all written down so I wouldn't forget. And it was kind of a lot. Like, it was at least 10. So obviously I've forgotten some here. I'm actually going to make another video about ADHD and like symptoms you may not know are related to ADHD, because there's things that I've just now found out, like personality wise, and I'm realizing it's caused by ADHD. So everything in my life makes so much more sense now. So I'm going to do that. She prescribed me, I think it was Strattera, which is like, she also said that Wellbutrin and something else can help, but I've been on that for as an antidepressant in the past, and it didn't work for ADHD symptoms. It worked really well for depression, but not for what I need it for now. So I declined that one, and then she put me on Strattera. So it's one of those that you just take for so long and then you don't even notice anything until like 6 weeks, which I feel like sucks for ADHD because I don't need to be laser focused 24/7. You know what I mean? Like, I work and I do schoolwork, and that's really all I need it for. Like, it's whatever. I don't want to be a zombie, 24/7. So she gave me that, and then I was on it forever, for however long. I think I went back in a month or something. And then I was like, I think maybe it needs to be higher. I feel like it's like, I feel a little less antsy and anxious, but like, it's not doing that much. So she upped the dose. And then when she upped the dose, I started having side effects from it. Like, I felt dizzy. I can't remember what the other ones were now, but I just wasn't feeling good. So I quit taking it. I told her that. And then I went back, and she said, really, the only other thing that I have is this thing called Quellbri, which is like $300 on GoodRx. So there's no way that I can afford that. So she was like, well, the only other thing that you can do is ADHD testing. And that's the only way that they'll give you stimulants, which is like Adderall, Ritalin, and I don't even know what the others are called. There's more. So I'm like, okay. They gave me a list of places that did the testing, and the first place that I called was like a virtual thing. The person that makes the appointments, I told her what I needed. I needed the testing done, and she scheduled me this appointment with this man, and then I made the first appointment with him. And he just asked me like 5 or 6 questions. And was like, well, based on these, yeah, you might have ADHD. Then he told me that he can't even do the testing. So she gave me an appointment with somebody that can't even do it. So that was a waste of time waiting on that one. Also, keep in mind, between the doctor appointment and the psychiatrist appointment was like another 2 months, I believe. And then another couple weeks on the virtual thing. So all this time's passed already. All the other I called a bunch of places to try to have this testing done, and one of the places that did it wanted like $1,600, and my insurance wasn't going to cover it at all. So I tell this woman that, and I tell her about the virtual appointment I had with the man, and I was like, he said, he asked me a few questions, and based on that, he said that I might have ADHD. And she's just like, she's shaking her head. She's like, I can't really give you anything unless you have the testing done. She's like, no. I don't know. That also seemed like she also thought I was lying. And I get it. There are a lot of people who get medications that don't need them because they want to do things, other things with them. They have other purposes. So it really sucks for the people that actually need it. But the thing is, she was willing to prescribe me Strattera for it without testing. But you can't do that. Okay, whatever. So then my next thought was, okay, so if my insurance isn't going to cover an outside testing place, they might cover a place that does the testing in the office. And I was right. So I found a psychiatrist that's actually way closer to me than the first one was anyways. And they did do the testing in their office. So I talked to this lady and she let me do the test. So I don't know if the other place did it more extensively. I believe they did because it was $1,600. Surely they did way more. One day I'd like to have that test done because I would like the results to be completely accurate just because I want to know. So the test that I did, they put me in this little room and there's like a camera. And then they put this strap around your head with like a little ball velcroed to the middle. And they give you a button, like at jobs where you have the hearing test or whatever. It was a little button like that. And I sat there and then the test was on the computer. And literally all it was a combination of like blue and red, either squares or circles. And I had to hit the button anytime it showed two of the same shape and color. So like if it was two red circles in a row, I hit the button. If it was a red circle, blue circle, I don't hit the button. So they somehow they test all these things like impulsivity and your attention rate. I don't know. But anyways, so I did that. And then my next appointment, we went over the results. And she basically said that 99% of people did better than me on all of the whatever things that they tested for, except for like one. So, sounds pretty bad, right? She did prescribe me Adderall, and they start you off on 5 milligrams. Well, they did me. I don't know if that's for everybody. So she started me off on 5 milligrams, which I did notice a difference. The very first time I ever took one was crazy. Like, okay, so with somebody with ADHD, your brain is always like, it's always like going everywhere, right? It's like, it's in all places at once. The very first one I took, it was like my brain just like basically turned off and all those thoughts came together as one. And I was like so focused. It was such a crazy feeling because I noticed it immediately when it happened. I've never had that experience again after taking it. But the very first time, that's what it felt like. It was crazy. Like, it's like your mind is finally at peace, I guess. So it was on 5 milligrams for a month. And then it did a lot. It did a lot. The only thing was that I was still getting a teeny weeny bit antsy, just a little bit, but it was so much better. So then she informed me that she wanted to keep me on that for just one more month. And then she upped it to 7.5, which is the next step up. And then that one is still really, that one was even better. It did decrease my appetite a little bit, which I'm fine with because I'm trying to lose weight anyways. So whatever. But then I just went back the other day and I told her, I was like, I don't know if I need a higher dosage. I don't know how well it's working. Like, I can't really tell. And she said she would up it to 10 milligrams. So 10 milligrams is what I'm on now. Weirdly enough, my appetite's not decreased like it was on the 7.5. Makes no sense to me, but I feel fine. It's only been like a week or two, so I still can't tell if, and this is take as needed. I take it twice a day. They also have one that's extended release, so you can just take one in the morning. So I still don't know if it needs to be higher or not, but I'm able to focus at work now. I don't get antsy at all, which is actually really crazy. I'm not good at eating while talking because I feel like I don't want to be rude. But the point of this is to eat and talk. Oh, another symptom, I lose my train of thought. Not a lot, but sometimes. And then, like, sometimes my memory is so bad, I can't even remember where we parked the car when we come out of Walmart. It's bad. But I think it's also, I think my situation's a little worse for other reasons. Like, I think trauma and stress and no exercise also contributes to my memory loss. So that's just my experience. But so far I'm good. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask in the comments. Like I said, I am going to make another video about symptoms and symptoms you might not realize are caused from ADHD. Another symptom that I'm now realizing is from ADHD, personality wise, is sometimes I say things, I guess rather bluntly, but other people find it rude. Like, I guess I just come off a little too strong and people think it sounds rude or something when that's not my intention at all. And the other one is apparently complaining a lot is a symptom, which is crazy. Like, I remember being in 9th grade and I just remember going into the classroom in my English class, and I think I either said like it was cold in there or it was hot in there, and the teacher, she was like, how did she say it? She was like, do you ever not complain, or you complain a lot, or something about that. She mentioned something about me complaining, but I was just speaking my mind. You know, I didn't know that that was considered complaining. So, and I do kind of complain a lot. I've never considered it complaining. Like, I'm just speaking my mind. Like, it's not like I have a real issue with what I'm saying, you know, like I come into a room and I'm like, it's cold in here. I don't consider that complaining. I'm just like, I'm just cold, you know. But you can let me know your thoughts on that, if you would consider that complaining. Also in that same class, we were doing a project and we were grouped up. I was grouped up with somebody that I think was my friend at the time. I can't really remember. And then this guy that I know didn't really like me. And I think I asked him why he didn't like me. And he told me because I complained too much. And for one, I've never even talked to this guy. So I don't even know how he knew what I was saying, to be honest. But whatever. So I'm like, you know what? Things make so much more sense now. So there's that. Also, I don't know if you've ever seen people basically say that ADHD isn't real. Like, they say it doesn't exist or something. And I'm like, what? I'm like, as somebody with ADHD, it very much so does exist. Like, are you stupid? I think that's all for this video. Please subscribe. If you've made it this far, you probably didn't. And like the video. Tomorrow's my birthday, so please subscribe. I have super thanks turned on if you want to support the channel that way as well. And until next time.